Anyway, next picture. This one's from Stacy, and Stacy says, so at first I could not think of a single item until this Sunday before leaving to drive to the city centre. I had my camera at hand and I started my car when I looked outside to throw out some trash. I looked up and I saw that the pine tree in front of my house is sprouting pine cones. The pines do not wait until spring, they start to develop in the winter. So I was amazed, so I took this shot. So here are the new pine cones. Okay, so you've got your cones starting to form, and I love the colour of these, Stacey. I must say, I love those browns and greens. I think it works really well together, and I like the fact that you've got you're in focus here on a nice bunch of the texture of the cones there. We can see some of these leaves and stuff, the needles working quite well, and then it goes out of focus, but we can still see the same kind of colours and textures moving into the blur. I think there's a lot going on in there. It's a nice texture. Now, there's a bit here, and I thought I'll go off and play, and just so I want to show you something. If you get a chance to play around with Photoshop or other editing software, something you can do. One of the things that sort of struck me with this is I can imagine this like a kind of wallpaper pattern. And so what I want to do is I want to show you actually how you can do that. So I'm just going to open in Photoshop for a moment, and I thought it could be a little bit of fun just to sort of, in case it's never really occurred to anybody to try it, that you can take a pattern like this and you go, well, what I like is the greens and the browns, but if that was a poster or a picture on the wall in itself, I don't think there's enough in there to really grab the attention and be a strong story. But at the same time, it's really interesting colours and textures. What would happen if I repeated those colours and textures? Now, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will copy that first of all. Now, if I go to edit, other image canvas size, and I will anchor it in one corner. I will double the size, double the width in percentage, and 200% height, and OK. So what I've done is I've put the image there. Now, if I paste the image like that, and like that, we've got a repetition, but we're very aware of the join. This bit comes to here and then it suddenly stops. So what you can do is if you reverse this, so let's take this one, and I will go to Edit, Free Transform, Flip Horizontal. Now what happens is this joins up with the other one and you get this sort of strange mirror image. So let's go down here, and with this one I will Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. So that's now with this one, and then this one needs to be flipped horizontal and vertical, or actually I think that just means you rotate it 180 degrees and it fits in. So now if I select all, copy and paste, you can now see we've got this sort of effect. If we wanted, we could then do exactly the same thing, where I file, image canvas size, anchor it in the corner, change that to percent to 200%, 200%, and then paste it in here again. Only this time I don't have to actually turn anything because it's already so you can now see that you can create these kind of patterns. Now these ends up very horizontal. I mean, another way of doing this as well is if I rotate this, image rotation, arbitrary, and I will rotate that by 45 degrees. Like that. And then if I pull. Let's go to crop. If I hold the shift button down, I can keep the square. Maybe take that to there. Take that to there. And crop that. So now we have much more of a diagonal shape. And so now if I copy that and then go to edit, image canvas size, grab it in the corner, change that to %, double the width, double the height, and then we can paste these. Only because I have changed them, I would then need to flip those bits as well. So I transform that by flip horizontal, take this one, edit, transform, flip vertical, and this one, edit, transform, rotate 180 degrees. So now you can see we've got a very different feel. And you're taking an idea and reversing it, flipping it, putting it next to each other, creating mirror, mirroring it again. If you want, you can tilt it, you can mirror it again, and it all becomes really interesting. If we zoom in, we can still see, here's your original photo. Somewhere in here is the original photo. And we can, we can still see the bits of cone, we can still see the needles, we can still see the bouquet in the background. But all these bits now seem to sort of line up and loop up, and it just becomes very, it's then all about the pattern. So if you happen to have a picture where you really like the colours, you really like the texture, but there's maybe not enough in it to feel like it's a picture in its own right, but there's something about the patterning that will work well as a background. If you ever wanted to do some kind of wallpaper or things like that, that's a way you can play around with it. So this image can then get repeated and repeated, and for that matter, you could literally make wallpaper out of it. You could send, there are companies out there where you send off this image and they will print you great long rolls of wallpaper, and you can do your living room with it if you so desire. Okay, anyway, just thought I would show you that. There's a little tangent there, but quite a bit of fun, I think. If you found this useful, let your friends know and hit subscribe.